Another award-winning, thought-provoking, action-packed edition of the Tony Basilio Show is coming up next. Tips are always appreciated here at TonyBasilio.com, home of the Tony Basilio Show.
Listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fanrun Radio.
The good times are going to be flowing tonight. The Vols are an 11.5-point favorite. And today on the program, we preview the Ole Miss game. We also have Adam Sparks on with us. And the Sparks will be flying later today. And Joey Aguilar fever is running wild across this land. Matt Diskin, how excited are you about Joey Aguilar's new strategy? And some people think that he's going to be able to get eligible here. They're going to pull one out of the fire, maybe, which I'm not saying. I don't know. I mean, like the great Marcos Garza says, anytime you're dealing in a court of law, who knows? But it sure is interesting that they're trying a different tact here. They've unentangled themselves from Pavia. And, Matt, I can't figure out if it's a good thing or not. I guess I'm the only one that feels conflicted.
But I just want resolution to the whole deal, whether he's going to be your quarterback or not, because it kind of goes a long way towards projecting and looking ahead to what the season's going to be. So and I'm sure Tennessee obviously wants that as well. It feels like you almost have to have something by the time spring practice starts, or you just kind of move on. But one way or the other, I would like it to kind of have a definitive answer.
I couldn't agree more with that, man. I could not agree more with that. Bri, how about you? Where are you on it?
Same place I've always been on it.
You cheering for it or against it?
I think the best thing is for Joey Aguilar to return for one more season next year, and then in 27 you can get either Faison or G-Mac ready to be the starting QB.
If I thought they would do that, I would agree with that. But the problem is, next fall they're not going to do that. They're not going to get either one of those two guys ready. You know what I mean? But we're pumped. We are pumped. John Adams, you presented by Jennifer Morris. Next move, SmokyMountains.com. Que pasa, amigo?
Tony.
John, how pumped are you right now as we're about to visit with Neil McCready regarding what's going on at Ole Miss? Boy, that's been a disaster down there. John, you lived in Jackson for a while. Can you imagine what that would have been like when you were there, if they had been paralyzed by a snow event like this? Because they are not, and I mean not equipped for this, are they?
No, not at all. I mean, last year in my hometown of Clinton, Louisiana, which is even further south, they had 5 inches of snow. That hasn't happened in my lifetime. Southern. Last January, I was coming back from South Florida.
Yep.
We got stuck in South Georgia because there was ice on the roads. They couldn't clear the interstate. They don't have the equipment to do that. So we were stranded in South Georgia for 2 nights.
It's crazy. And then if that weren't enough down there, I think those folks just got power back, but Neil's going to join us. What's going on in our mid-state is crazy. Ice storms are, it just can't, nothing makes any sense to me. You start talking about ice storms, totally dangerous.
Well, I can't, I couldn't drive my car. There's a clear road on Parkdale.
Yep.
20, 30 yards from my driveway.
Yep.
But in my car, now Melinda has a four-wheel drive Subaru. She can drive on it, but I couldn't drive there on my car. In my car, I couldn't get to Parkdale. It's only 20 or 30 yards, but I might go in a ditch.
Mike in Portland had an interesting call yesterday talking about how up in those parts, there are ski resorts that don't have any snow. Hadn't snowed at all in Montana. They've had like 1.5 days of snow, and here we're getting snowed on. I mean, what twice in a week? Like, what are we doing here? What in the why? What in the world of a sport is
it keeps
going
you guessing, though.
It keeps you guessing.
There's so much uncertainty about everything. We can certainly relate that to sports. I mean, we've got the Joey Aguilar case. I mean, these are important cases, not just for Tennessee, but for the SEC. Trinidad Chambliss for Ole Miss. If he gets another year eligibility, you got to look at Ole Miss completely differently than you do right now, going ahead to next season. And I'm sure Neil can address that. He's covered Ole Miss for a long time.
Yeah. The other thing Neil's going to address is Dabo Swinney opening up the can of whoop ass.
Well,
Matt, you think anything? You think anything comes of that, Matt? You think anything comes of that? That can that Dabo opened up on Ole Miss last week publicly?
No. I mean, who's going to open up the can? I mean, the NCAA. I mean,
Matt,
there's just nobody. I mean, it's obviously an issue, but there's no real power structure that can enforce anything.
That's why Dabo's efforts were misguided. I give him a lot of credit for naming names.
Yep.
Because all these other coaches make these vague references.
Yep.
Well, everybody's cheating. Everybody's cheating but us. And so we're at disadvantage. It comes across as one giant excuse. Dabo pinpointed the problem and what was going on. However, he didn't read the room or really take, gauge the state of the college football right now. As Matt pointed out, there aren't any rules. What rules there aren't enforced, and they aren't going to enforce them. So Dabo did some venting, but that's going nowhere.
Brian Hartman, news on the spring game today. Share it with us.
April 11th is the spring game, the date for the orange and white game, and it is free admission.
Let's go, doctor.
So Daniel Dimes is not charging.
So will Danny White take up a love offering, though, for UT's collective, Matt? Will they have a plate there, pass the plate during the game, do a love offering?
They'll have some equivalent of that, absolutely.
Yes. As my Christian brethren know, and a singing artist comes and they come and sing at your church and they perform, hey, man, nothing's free in life, so you take up a love offering for them. Can we have a NIL love offering? And, John, what do you think of that idea? Could somebody posit that to Danny White? Make it free, but also pass the hat.
I've experienced a few of those love offerings. I also remember when I was a scorekeeper in Little League Baseball, they would pass around a bucket to contribute to the Little League there in Clinton, Louisiana. So it was a way to raise money. Here's an idea. Free admission, but charge people to leave. It's you as the game's over and you're trying to exit the stadium, make them pay to come out the gate.
As John Adams joins on the program, presented by Jennifer Morris, Next Move, SmokyMountains.com. Don't you dare buy, sell, or trade a house without talking to the great Jennifer Morris and Look, we've got sponsors that co-mingle or however you want to do that, with their businesses. And Austin Collins was saying dealing with her is incredible. Josh Collins loves her. The great Marcos Garza loves her. She's John Adams approved. I mean, she's pretty next level. She's very.
I'm really encouraging her to get in the political world.
She's very funny, too. Very funny.
She's very bright.
Very bright.
Very persistent.
Very persistent. Very persistent.
She gets things done. You know, some people you say, "Hey, could you do this?" Or, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll look into it." You never hear from her.
No, she will look into it. Whenever we've had a question for her about anything, she will look into it. She's very dogged in her approach.
She'll be at February baseball games.
Oh, she doesn't play. Yeah, she ain't playing. Brad today asked me. Brad today from Calhoun's. He says, "You gonna come to baseball with me?" I said, "Of course." He goes, "You've never said you'll come to anything with us." I said, "You've never invited me to baseball." Of course, man, I can't wait. We're 2 weeks out, man. Did you see the advanced forecast? Gonna be 55 degrees that first game, Matt. I'm gonna be there. Freddie Miller.
Yeah, break the shorts and sunscreen out.
You damn straight.
I got a really bad sunburn on that left field porch a couple of years ago.
See?
In March, yeah.
See?
I had a really nice conversation with Josh Elander yesterday. I was interviewing him for a
Tell me about him. How was he?
He's very personable. And the thing is that, you dealt with Tony Vitello for all these years, and Tony was so unusual.
I bathed in Tony. I didn't deal with him. I bathed in him. But go ahead.
Well, yeah, that's another story that's probably best avoided at this point. But Josh is really personable. He's somebody you can talk to a lot of coaches, when you're talking to them and you are interviewing them, so it is an interview. But with a few coaches, you can interview them and it's a conversation, which is really preferable.
Yep.
And I felt that way with Josh. First time I'd ever talked to him, and it was, he's just very comfortable talking about things, talking about his team. I think, and you know what? I think this is going to be one of the smoothest transitions ever in Tennessee sports in terms of coaches. Because this guy, he's following a legend, but there's not pressure with it because he's a part of that legend that Tony Vitello leaves behind. He was right there with him in the trenches.
Tony
all
loves
that
him.
Time.
No, Tony and I said, "Tony, how's he?" He said, he said, he's going to roll. He said, "That's my main man right there." And I'm thinking to myself, if he's your main man, why'd you take Q from him? And why'd you take Frank Anderson from him if he's your main man? Let's come back on the other side. We continue. Upon the continuance, it will be Neil McCready. Is that right, Brian? Neil McCready after this? I want to make sure I'm on the same page with you.
Yes.
And then the sparks are going to fly from the great Adam Sparks about this. Excuse me? About this for this Joey Aguilar lawsuit. And we're going to find out what Adam thinks is in the offing. Joey Aguilar, little snooze, snout, and snugget in the middle of that. Matt, do you find it more snooze, more snout, or more snugget that Joey Aguilar's people are claiming that $2 million could be on the table for him this fall from the Vols? Is that more a snooze, a snout, or a snugget, Matt, to you?
I think that's probably about what market value would be for him. Maybe a tad high, but from his perspective, that's what you want to say in a lawsuit like this.
No question.
Well,
that's ultimately what they're fighting over is the right to earn, and $2 million paycheck to be a college quarterback's a whole lot higher than being a camp arm in the NFL
or being in the spring league. Which is more like
which is where he'd more than likely end up.
Make $100,000 in the spring league.
And his value is enhanced as far as Tennessee's concerned.
Mm-hmm.
He might now be worth $2 million to UCLA, but to Tennessee because he knows the system.
Yep. And on the other side, I want to just say, I want to shout out that prominent booster family out there at Oregon State. Matt, did you listen to our third hour yesterday, the prominent booster family at Oregon State that got some love? Because if not, you need to go back and listen. Anybody didn't hear the third hour yesterday? Pretty interesting. So we continue with more after this. When it's time for your next move, you want to get your precious belongings from point A to point B with your peace of mind intact. That's why you need to call my friends at Gufon Moving and Storage, East Tennessee's moving legend. Gufon Moving and Storage has been helping East Tennesseans move since 1887. That's 138 years, 5 generations. That's even longer than the Dooley, Jones, and Pruitt era combined. Gufon Moving and Storage, pro movers, serving Knoxville, surrounding areas, and interstate moves too, both residential and commercial. And we'll provide you with personalized service that other corporate movers simply cannot. We know how to move all types of items. We pay careful attention to our clients' valuables. Your satisfaction as a customer is our absolute priority. As the oldest continually owned and operated family moving business in the United States, when it's time for your next move, it's Gufon Moving and Storage. And storage, it's secure and vaulted. Our newest offering of commercial storage logistics, we offer receiving, storage, and delivery services for all your business logistic needs. See more at Gufon.com. That's Gufon.com. Or check out the link at tclub.team. When it's time for your next move, East Tennessee's moving legend, Gufon Moving and Storage. Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Inward Half is committed to the game and the memorable moments that happen in between. From the tee box to the tailgate, from the green to the big game. For the first birdie with Dad, the first big win with Mom. Friday night lights, Saturday superstitions, Sunday traditions. Fall into the comfort and unparalleled performance of Inward Half. This fall, enjoy the walk-in.
Are you tired of hiding your smile because of crooked teeth? At Knoxville Smiles, we've got the perfect solution. Invisalign. No metal, no wires, just clear, comfortable aligners that straighten your teeth without anyone noticing. Eat what you want, smile with confidence, and see results in as little as 6 months. Call us today for more information about Invisalign, 865-539-1776. Or just visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Cold weather is here. Is your heating system ready and running efficiently? Don't wait to find out. A simple tune-up now can help prevent costly breakdowns when you need your heat the most. Right now, Pipe Wrench is offering a $79 heating system tune-up to keep your home warm, safe, and worry-free all winter long. Our certified technicians inspect, clean, and fine-tune every part of your heating system for maximum efficiency and comfort, helping you avoid surprise breakdowns and high energy bills. And with Pipe Wrench Home Service's same-day service guarantee, you won't be left out in the cold waiting for help. Your comfort isn't just our job, it's our promise. Schedule your $79 heating system tune-up today at pipewrench.com before winter decides to test your heater. Pipe Wrench Home Services, trusted in Knoxville, Maryville, Oak Ridge, and neighboring communities for over 20 years. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit is free. For standard systems only, visit pipewrench.com for details.
TB here with Alan of WeShipFloors.com. Tell them about it, Alan.
Hey, I'm Alan from WeShipFloors.com. Our competition's prices, well, they're going up. Ours are coming down. Our waterproof floor Supercore is the best, and right now it starts at $199 a square foot. Our warehouses are full of 4mm, 6mm, and 8mm. You strapped for cash? Well, we have our own in-house financing. Use our room visualizer and order some free samples today. Supercore from WeShipFloors.com. Best products at best price.
Like Alan said, head over to WeShipFloors.com. Use the room visualizer on the website. Drop in any of the 120 Supercore floors virtually into your room and order your free samples today. WeShipFloors.com. Tennesseans, they are us. The best product, the best price. WeShipFloors.com. Living Vol fan, when it's time to get ready for 2026 and what's ahead, there's only one place. It's Alumni Hall, the best and largest selection of Tennessee apparel for the whole family. Top brands, Nike, Champion, Columbia, Peter Millar. And check this out. All the basketball stuff that the Tennessee basketball fan could ever need. Some great Tennessee baseball stuff as well. Any season, any reason. Alumni Hall, 3 locations in Knoxville. Also Murfreesboro, Bristol, and now open, of course, in Johnson City. And anytime online, alumnihall.com. Say it loud, say it proud. The ultimate volunteer shopping experience, Alumni Hall. Score a TD every time with T3 Vodka. T3 is Tennessee's premium vodka, handcrafted with passion, precision, and a whole lot of pride. T3 Vodka is taking the volunteer state by storm. T3 Vodka, handcrafted in the majesty of the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains, where quality isn't just a promise, it's a way of life. Filtered 10 times and 80 proof. T3 Vodka delivers a smoothness that's unmatched. This dedication to excellence has already earned T3 Vodka prestigious accolades. T3 is a 5-time gold medal winning vodka and the 2025 SIPS Consumer Choice Award medal winner. Whether you're sipping it neat or on the rocks or mixing up your favorite cocktail, T3 Vodka is your choice for a premium, award-winning experience. Score a T3 TD and ask for T3 Vodka by name at restaurants and wine and liquor stores today. Drink it neat, drink it right, drink T3 Vodka and score a touchdown every time. T3, Tennessee's premium vodka. Please drink responsibly.
Bradley's and your Tony Basilio Show are a Knoxville tradition. And these days, just like Tony B's show has taken off like a rocket ship, so have my friends at Bradley's. Sure, they still have all the delicious chocolate you're used to, like the chocolate-covered popcorn in the assortment boxes. They're now called Bradley's Gift and Home, and they have so much more than chocolate. Bradley's Gift and Home has all kinds of amazing curated gifts, jewelry, candles, and other for her gift items that will keep you from having to go anywhere else. Guys, trust me, as Basilio would say, Bradley's Gift and Home have taken it to the next level. And remember, Bradley's will have freshly dipped chocolate-covered strawberries in milk and white chocolate at both of their locations, 141 North Peters Road and 138 Biddle Farms Boulevard in Farragut next to Tupelo Honey. Strawberries available February 13th and 14th. See you at Bradley's Bradley's Gift and Home. See our website, shopbradleys.com.
Oh, yeah, and we'll be giving some Bradleys away later on today in the program, so get fired up, folks, prepared for that. I'm going to ask you, for your 3 favorite Rick Barnes basketball games of the Barnes era, in honor of what Aaron from Morristown wrote on our blog over at tclub.team today. And I appreciate him for dropping some knowledge on us. In the meantime, Neil McCready joins, who really does a wonderful job. John was bragging on him. John Adams is with us. Matt Dixon's in the house along with Brian Hartman and yours truly, Tony Basilio, on this Tuesday. And first thing I want to do, Neil, before I welcome you in, is just acknowledge what you guys have been through down there in Oxford, Mississippi. And can you give us an update as I welcome you in on how things are going there in terms of just the cleanup and where we are?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Yeah, we got hit pretty hard, man. What was it, about a week and a half ago? We got the ice. we got tons of it. I think a little more than an inch of ice. If you were listening to the Weather Channel that week leading up, and I was, because I was trying to sort of coordinate some things in terms of travel. I had to get a car back to my son in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and I was really watching all the weather. And they kept saying, a half inch of ice is catastrophic, was the word they used. And we got about double that, maybe a little more. And it was indeed pretty catastrophic. I'll give them credit. They nailed it. Man, there were trees snapping in the woods in the middle of the night. It was pretty scary stuff. Most of people have their power back. People out in the rural areas might not get it back for another week, 2 weeks. There's a lot of cleanup that has to be done here. A lot of trees, fell. A lot of trees have been cut up, trees all over the sides of the roads. The schools are out this week. I think they're all hoping to get back Monday of next week. But yeah, we've been through it. It was a real thing. A lot of ice still on the ground, starting to thaw now. We've gotten couple warmer days, but roofs were damaged, vehicles, houses. You and I were talking about this in the break, man. When Mother Nature game plans for you and scouts you and then executes her plan, you're not winning. And we certainly took one on the chin from Mother Nature for sure.
Yeah, and you bring back memories for me. My friends in the mid-state have told me that you're sitting there in the middle of the night and all of a sudden you hear something go down and it sounds like a bomb went off or a loud gunshot, and it's another tree that falls in the middle of the night, and it just startles you. I mean, it just wakes you up, and then you're sleeping with one eye open and you're losing all that sleep because it's only human. Because then you're wondering, did a house next door catch on fire, or what? What's the latest catastrophe that's going to befall us today? It is really something to live through that, and prayers up for your whole area. So, is power back where you are?
Yeah,
you guys back?
We got power back 72 hours or so, which was just remarkable because when I woke up on that Sunday morning, I say woke up, when we got up, when we finally just surrendered and got up, our looking out our front door, our driveway was completely blocked. All of our trees in our front yard were gone. We had to, it was, that's one of those, the South things, where we all sort of, even when we don't really know each other, we all kind of get out that day and everybody got the chainsaws and helping each other out. And that was the cool thing that you see in these deals. But yeah, it was, we heard, you hear what you think in the moment when you're sound asleep is that was, what idiot is shooting a rifle in the backyard? And then you realize there is no idiot. It's a tree. And then you start hearing trees in the front and you keep getting up and looking and you're just like, oh man, this is going to be it's going to be a minute. But we got our power back 3 days later, I think, and really no big complaints. A lot of credit to all the linemen and stuff who all over the South. I was just in Nashville on Saturday for Ole Miss Vanderbilt, and they're dealing with the same thing. A lot of people lost power, and a lot of people, a lot of these guys who work for these power companies are pretty much burning the midnight oil and working in pretty frigid conditions to get power back for people as fast as they can. So kudos to them.
Neil McCrady's a delight. We've talked to him down through the years. I've got a great deal of respect for him. He gives the Ole Miss perspective in an unvarnished way. He's always been tremendous to talk to. I'm going to let him tell you about some of what he's got going on a little later. And he does a lot of great stuff. So, Neil, you're sitting there, I don't know, middle of last week, kind of minding your own business. This Lane Kiffin thing has come and gone. Ole Miss goes to the playoffs and makes a great showing. I mean, hell, that was a great run by them. Just a tremendous story. And you're sitting there minding your own business, and here's Dabo Swinney. And he's having a press conference. I mean, Al Davis would have been proud of. It was, I guess it was a latter 21st century version of that Lane Kiffin press conference. There was no overhead used. But what was going through your mind when you watch this guy who's all of a sudden gotten college football religion. They were one of the great cheaters back in the old era, but now they can't compete for players anymore like they once did. And all of a sudden, Dabo's all tore up. What was going through your mind?
I was sort of stunned, really, at just how out of touch he sounded. I mean, it's difficult for me to imagine that a Power 4 coach in this era, 2 years or so into it, can really muster up legitimate angst about tampering and talk about receipts in an era where literally, Tony, everyone has receipts on everyone. I mean, it's sort of like you and I are both kids of the 80s, right? When you had the Cold War and you know, the Soviets and the Americans, everybody knew that, you know, anybody who launched the first nuke, it was just mutually assured self-destruction. I don't know who he's kidding. I mean, I think, in fairness to him, his objective was very local, and it was to get local people who are pissed off at him, pissed off at someone else, in this case, Pete Golding at Ole Miss. And that probably worked to a degree. You know, Ole Miss, you know, big bad cheating Ole Miss took away the linebacker that, you know, woke up in the middle of the night one day in Berkeley and said, I think I want to go to Clemson, South Carolina. I'm sure there was nothing there. I'm sure it was just a decision that was made because he loves the upstate and thinks Greenville's a really nice place to be adjacent to. I mean, I'm sure that's what that was. So, it's all stupid. I mean, who's he kidding? Yeah, does he have receipts? I'm sure he has receipts. Ole Miss has receipts. Tennessee has receipts. Texas has receipts. Ohio State has receipts. Everybody has receipts. And they know that people have receipts on them in this environment. The calendar is complete chaos. You know, you mentioned Ole Miss's playoff run. Ole Miss won the Sugar Bowl on January the 1st at night. They flew back in the middle of the night to Oxford, so January the 2nd. The portal opened while they were in the air. They had several days in Oxford where you had coaches on the staff who were, I guess at that point, dual employees of Ole Miss and LSU. You had kids on the team who obviously had decisions to make about the portal. You were preparing for a national semifinal game on the 8th in Phoenix, basically. I mean, it's absurd that that's where the calendar is, but that's where the calendar is. And so, of course, there's tampering. I mean, see, beyond tampering, it's just blatant. And everybody knows it. And if Dabo doesn't know it by this point, then the game has truly passed him by.
John Adams, your thoughts as we visit with Neil McCready, who I don't know what Dabo was trying to prove last week, but maybe he was trying to get the heat off him there. Maybe that's what he was doing.
Yeah, I think coaches, particularly veteran coaches like Dabo, who's come under criticism in recent years, or certainly know how to get the heat off them, deflect criticism. But I think his attempts were wasted. But because I think it comes across, as Neil alluded to, as being out of touch. This is the world in which you function now. And if you're not tampering, you're losing. You're losing decisively. I mean, you look at all the teams that are having success, even teams that are in the playoffs and the running for the national championship, when that transfer portal door swings open, they know whom they're going after. And there's already a relationship established. Texas Tech didn't take long to get its quarterback. A lot of schools had a multiple additions within a few days. So, yeah, it's just the world in which we live in. And I'm so impressed at how Ole Miss is managed in this era. I know Lane Kiffin gets a lot of credit for it. But, Neil, I'm wondering, I grew up in Louisiana and 20 minutes from the Mississippi border. Didn't think either one of those states were particularly affluent. But NIL is teaching me something else. LSU doesn't seem to have any shortage of cash for anything. But why has Ole Miss done so well, do you think, in this NIL era? Does it have a lot of boosters giving some money? Does it have a big booster who gives a lot? What's the deal there?
I think it's twofold. One, you have to give a lot of credit to Lane. No question about that. Two, I think you have to give a lot of credit to some people at Ole Miss, really boosters initially, I think, that got out in front of this, that saw where this was going. 2022, there was kind of a confluence of events that happened. They got out in front of it. They said this collective thing is where this is going. You're going to have to raise money. You're going to have to pay players. That's how you're going to get them. And then Lane had this flirtation with Auburn back in November of 2022, where there was at least a handful of days where I think most people assumed he was going to take the Auburn job. And Ole Miss said, hey, we're not willing to go back to obscurity. Let's double down and triple down. And they raised an absolute ton of money, and they got way ahead of it. And then Lane stayed, and they started putting a much more competitive roster together using the portal and winning in this era. And it's interesting, Tony and I were having this conversation off the air a little bit. This is a volatile fan environment, but when you are winning and fans are engaged, they will dig deeper into their pockets than they do if you're not winning. And Ole Miss has been, as you said, John, Ole Miss has been very successful in this era. And, I can't speak to what's going on at LSU other than they are, from everything I can tell, they are desperately trying to claim their spot, or what they think is their spot, at the top of the college football pecking order. And in this environment, there is only one way to do it, and that is to get players. And to get players, you got to have money. And the more you have, the better chance you have of getting enough of the best players. And that's what it takes to win. And it's kind of always been that way, but now it's that way on steroids. And you see the CSC and NIL Go and all these people trying to sort of govern this thing through RevShare and Deloitte and whatnot. My experience from watching this and covering it is good luck to them. I think we're in a kind of a ruleless society right now as it pertains to college athletics, and I think that's what LSU is gambling on. They backloaded some money so that they could front load. They've got their rev share, and I think they're borrowing from the future, if you will, based on the premise. And I'll be honest, I think they're right. I think they're banking on the premise that these rules aren't going to stick, and that the numbers are going to keep exploding, and that what they're ultimately doing, that people say, hey, man, that's really risky, is ultimately not that risky at all.
Yeah, meanwhile, we have an AD here who's acting like it's 1985. Trinidad Chambliss, by the way, and Joey Aguilar, we're watching these court cases. What's the latest? What do you hear on Chambliss? I know that strike one went against him. What's the latest there?
He's going to be their quarterback, Tony, because worst case scenario, they get a temporary restraining order or injunction or whatever in a local court. It gets tied up in the courts. Courts work. They're not going to speed up the courts so that this is done. I mean, it's not going to be determined in a court setting before September. He'll have an injunction that allows him to play if he doesn't win his appeal with the NCAA. And hey, he's got pretty decent grounds on appeal. And the NCAA doesn't want to set up the precedent of a sixth year for people, because if you start passing out a sixth year, it sort of becomes that Oprah Winfrey meme of you get a sixth year and you get a sixth year and you get a sixth year. But I think he's going to get a sixth year. He's going to be their quarterback.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting to think about. John, how about that? I mean, it's very possible the same exact thing could happen here with Joey Aguilar. I think that's why they pulled themselves off that case. Let's get a local judge. Let's go before a local judge. Let's, these local judges have to live among their citizenry. I mean, they've got to live among the Vol fans. They've got to live among the Ole Miss fans.
Yeah, I think when Alabama got a G League player from pro basketball.
Yep.
Precisely.
Sent him out on the court. I think the lights came on over a lot of attorneys' heads and over a lot of players' heads in college football. Like, well, if he can do that, Why can't we? And I didn't think Joey Aguilar had much of a chance.
Well, and here's the thing, guys.
But guys, think about this for a minute. It's happening in front of our faces. Charles Bediako declared for the NBA draft. The deadline for the draft came and went, and he stayed in the draft. He played in the G League.
Yes.
The G League is professional basketball. It's unquestionably professional basketball. It is the same way that if I played for what's the MLB team up there, the minor league team in Knoxville, the Smokies.
The Smokies, yeah.
If I play for the Smokies, I am playing professional baseball. He played professional basketball, and he just played for Alabama against Florida on Sunday. Yeah. I watched it on my TV.
Yeah, nobody cares. And here's the other thing. To the judges.
There's no rules, guys. There's no rules. We have opened Pandora's box.
Yep.
And I'm of the opinion at this point, let her out. Let her play. Who knows? Maybe she'll go run out in traffic. Maybe she'll become queen of the world. We'll see. But let her out. This idea that we're going to put the toothpaste back in the tube now is insane.
Danny
it's
White.
not going to happen.
Danny White. I mean, do you guys, John, do you see, because Danny's telling people, you know, the folks at the commission are going to strike back here, and we're guarding ourselves against that. And we're really concerned against that. John, or you guys have been around this a long time. I've been around it a while myself. Personally, I don't think there's any chance that commission does that.
Oh, and here's the main thing. We're talking about court cases here. Antitrust, trying to stop somebody from making a living, making money. We know how the courts rule on that stuff. Yep. It's just going the player's way. And one of the things I'm curious about, and Neil keeps emphasizing for good reasons, no rules. The transfer portal, it's open for business for 2 weeks in January. How about it in the spring practice as the quarterback somewhere in college football decides, I think I'd rather play at Kansas State instead of Rutgers. I'm transferring now. And he takes the case to court. I believe he'll win.
There you go.
Yeah, so, here's the thing, guys. We all are around professional sports. You watch them. The NFL, they have a collective bargaining agreement. They have a labor agreement that's agreed to between the NFLPA and the owners.
Yep.
They have a commissioner. The commissioner has literal power. The players' union has agreed to that stipulation. So you have guardrails, right? You have a draft. You have contract structure. You have salary caps. You have penalties. You have structure. All that stuff was collectively bargained by a union. The players are not unionized. There's no incentive for them to get unionized. And without collective bargaining, to John's point, he's precisely right. Without collective bargaining, without some form of structure, there's nothing that prevents any of these kids from saying, you tell me the portal is this period, I tell you it's not. I'm going to court. And you find a local judge, in John's scenario, a kid from Rutgers goes to Kansas State. You find a local judge somewhere in Kansas who says, hey, I'd like to get reelected, or hey, I like the Wildcats, or whatever. And he says, sure, here's an injunction. And that kid's the quarterback at Kansas State. Here's
the deal. These sports are now governed by the courts. They're no longer governed by the NCAA. When the Supreme Court did what they did 4 years ago, that was it for the NCAA. Nobody wanted to believe it then. And Danny White, institutional guy he is, God bless him, loves the institution. Danny, it's over. You are now free to move about the cabin, brother. Don't restrict Tennessee on what they're doing. They're not going to do anything to Ole Miss. Dabo showed the receipts. They're not going to do anything to LSU. They're not going to do anything to you. They're not going to do anything to anybody. The minute they do, just like Neil just said, the dilute-ish people, whatever you want to call them, are going to put themselves out of business. No, they love the billable hours. Everything's going to get rubber stamped right on through. They're not going to say no to anything. Come on, let's get real here.
But here's the thing, guys, and you guys know this. I mean, John's a legend in our field, and I mean, he covered this for a long time. And I mean, Tony, you've been around it a long time too. I mean, these athletic departments were not ever designed for this this particular set of operations.
That's right.
That's not what they were for. And so you're completely revolutionizing these businesses. And yet at the same time, you're saying, oh, and by the way, you have to keep operating these programs on your campus that don't make any money. And you got to figure out a way to pay some of those players, even though there is, notice they don't call it profit sharing. They call it revenue sharing. I mean, it's in fairness to Danny and everybody else. I mean, this is revolutionary change in their industry in a very short period of time. 5 years. I mean, 5 years is a really small window of time if you think about it. And you go back to, December of 2019, if I told either one of you guys that here's what the landscape's going to look like in early February of 2026, you would have thought that I had lost my mind.
No question. By the way, Ole Miss in town tonight. 11.5-point dog, which is kind of a crazy number. Tennessee without their big man for the second consecutive game. Their rim disruptor inside, rim protector inside. Dia's got a chance to cook tonight, maybe for Ole Miss. Your thoughts on that ball game?
It's a tough matchup for Ole Miss. It's an Ole Miss team that they're better than their record, but at this stage, you kind of are what your record says you are. They have lost a lot of close games where they just can't finish late. Iowa, Utah, St. John's, most recently Vanderbilt, where, they dig themselves a hole. They spend a lot of energy climbing out of the hole and run out of time. It's a team that is still, I think, sometimes figuring itself out on offense. When they don't turn it over, they're pretty good offensively. When they do turn it over, they just don't have the offensive firepower to overcome that. You mentioned Malik Diaz had kind of a hot and cold season. When he's on, he's really on, but he has periods where he disappears, and it's been, I think, very frustrating for Chris Beard and that staff. And, they brought in a guard from France, Elias Camerdine, who I think is still kind of figuring out the American game, figuring out how to play with some of the guys that he has on that team. On paper, it's a game Tennessee wins. It is the SEC, and the league's pretty weird, but I like Tennessee's team. Rick's one of the best coaches in the game, and that Ament kid, Nate Ament, is a stud. I mean, he is. I can see why NBA people love him. So it's probably a game that Tennessee has to be off its A game, and Ole Miss has to be on its A game for the Rebels to, have a real chance. But look, they'll play hard. Chris Beard teams play hard. They're going to defend hard, and if they can protect the basketball, they can. They've shown over the course of the season that they can take the game deep and shorten it and see what happens. But look, if Ole Miss has the first half that they had at Vanderbilt, 9 turnovers, only 8 field goals, no assist, you're going to be hard pressed to stay in the game in Knoxville.
It's such an interesting thing because that guy can really coach, and given time,
he's an elite coach.
Oh yeah, and given time,
he's a phenomenal. Yeah. He's a phenomenal coach. I've been doing this longer than I'd like to admit in terms of just coaches being that I've covered as a beat writer in any sport. I think he's the absolute best.
And my thing is, you give a guy time like that, he's going to win, and who knows? The basketball season, man, and this league is so hard to find because it's just a bunch of pretty good teams. And Ole Miss on any particular night has the ability to be, pretty good.
Here's the fascinating thing, Tony, and I bet John would have an interesting thought on this as well. And I might be overextending my welcome, but here's the interesting thing is for guys like Rick Barnes and Chris Beard, who have done this for a long time at a really high level at different places, right? I mean, Rick was at Texas, and Chris was at Texas, took Texas Tech to overtime in the national championship game before they lost to Virginia. I mean, these are successful coaches, and they're having to learn a completely new way of roster formation. Yeah, they've always gone out and recruited guys and put teams together, but now you have to determine monetary value on guys. you're having to determine early in the portal, how much are you willing to pay a certain player? Is that too much? How do you manage a locker room where everybody knows what everybody's getting? We're seeing a lot of really smart coaches kind of have to learn and adjust on the fly. It's one of the things I'm most interested in talking to Chris Beard about after this season, depending on how it goes. But obviously, I would think in real time, I wouldn't think it, I would know it. In real time, he's taking mental notes of, here's why this happened. Here's what maybe we could have done. Here's what I would have done differently. It's going to be interesting to watch these guys adjust year to year on how they put teams together in this completely different era where coaches are trying to figure out, is there a way for me to protect myself and get this kid for 2 years? Not 4, 2. Is there a way to get a kid for 2 years where I can have some continuity on my roster, some idea of what I can expect on my roster, some way for me to build culture within my locker room, some continuity where the players can take ownership and express what the expectations are. Ole Miss went to the Sweet 16 last year, came basically a contested layup from the Elite Eight. And there's only 2 guys off that team that are back. It's a completely new team, and this is the way all over college sports.
It's ridiculous.
And, I think for some of these coaches who, Rick Barnes knows what he's doing. Chris Beard knows what he's doing. These guys are proven winners, but they're having to really adjust on the fly to how they do things. And I'm sure I would love to be a fly on the wall in a conversation that those 2 men probably have at some point.
All these guys
today or tomorrow, when they talk about the game, because it would be fascinating to hear how they truly view this and how you move forward with it.
Hey, tell the living listener how they can find you and reach you and all the stuff you're doing. And I appreciate you, Neil.
Well, I appreciate you. It's Rebels 24/7. It's part of the 247 Sports Network. We have a podcast channel called MPW Digital. Probably the show that most Tennessee fans would be interested in is one I do with Tyler Siskey, former Alabama assistant, former Ole Miss assistant, now the offensive coordinator for the Birmingham Stallions of the UFL. We have a podcast 2 days a week where we talk college football, pro football, big picture stuff that UT fans would probably enjoy.
You're the man, brother. Thank you.
See you guys.
Hey,
John, good to hear from you.
Yeah, my best to you in this weather. Thanks.
Take care, Neil.
Neil McCready one more time. Matt, tonight's game, sneaky spot or Vols going to roll? Where are you on this one? Coming in, and by the way, we'll be on with Garza Law, Tennessee basketball, overtime when the game expires.
It is certainly a sneaky spot for Tennessee. Tennessee's just not good enough to roll the ball out there and beat anybody the way that they play. And, a Chris Beard team can muddy a game up, with low possessions, and we all know how that goes. But it's probably maybe the best game to not have at par because Ole Miss doesn't have a huge presence inside offensively. So I think Tennessee wins. I think the 11 points is a little high just because I do think it'll be a low possession game, but Tennessee should win, but it won't be comfortable because this team just doesn't play comfortable games. And they'll blow 1 or 2 of these lower tier teams out, but I'm not sure tonight's one of them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think tonight, and look, this league is full of these games. You get these teams come in different shapes and sizes, and you have to navigate the league, and you have to hold serve, John, on your home floor now that the Vols have done some work on the road here, John. It's important to hold serve on your home floor. A game like tonight would be giving back 2 losses if you lose this game tonight.
Yeah, those back-to-back wins Tennessee had on the road were just crucial. Kind of turned its regular season around, and you don't want to give them back. But I think it's the way this league is. You just can't assume anything. Who would have thought Auburn could go into Gainesville and beat Florida? you think a team is playing at a certain level and it belongs on a certain tier.
Yep.
And then a week later, you change your opinion.
Hey,
I thought Kentucky was awful.
Awful.
And all of a sudden it wins, has these great comebacks. It reels off 4 or 5 consecutive wins. I think the last month of the season will be the regular season will be very much like January. It's just going to be unpredictable.
Hey, Matt, is there a chance Dia cooks tonight without Akpar in there to rim protect?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a chance he's, probably their best player or, one of their 2 or 3 best players. Probably their best player. Because he's kind of a matchup nightmare. He can shoot from outside.
Yeah, he missed a 3-ball the other day.
See how Tennessee guards him.
Yep, he missed a 3-ball to tie the game the other day. It kind of went down and out. He had a really good look at it, a turnaround shot down at Memorial Gym. He's a pretty good player. And by the way, he played at Belmont with Gillespie. Gillespie, he and Tyson were all on the same team. The Tyson kid's having a great year this year for, I believe, Minnesota. And so 3 high-level D1 guys on that Belmont team all at once. And so Gillespie and he will be reuniting. And it's going to feel so good. Tennessee's an 11.5 point, count them, an 11.5 point favorite tonight, which if you were forcing me to play a side in that game, I would play Ole Miss plus 11.5 points over at VIP Play, where you make your first bet of $20, you get $100 in bonus bets instantly. The promo code, the phrase that pays is TN Tony. Again, TN Tony, the live always 200 plus leagues, numerous bet types, props, options. And if you have a bet in mind, my VIP Play team will create it for you if it's a compliant bet type in the state of Tennessee. The Olympics are right around the corner. I'm pretty fired up, focused, and prepared for that. If you have a gambling problem, call 800-889-9789, 21 and over, located in the state of Tennessee, to place a bet. The people from Netflix have a new documentary up on the 1980 Miracle on Ice team. Anybody that's a sports fan, I don't care whether you ever watched a hockey game or not, go watch that thing and tell me you don't cry during it. That is a great sports documentary that they did. And I love it because, like all great documentaries, it's a period piece. So it gives you a look at the times, what we were going through as a nation, right as that was transpiring. I'll never forget that. I got vivid memories of all that as long as I live. And a young Al Michaels on the call, who was the play-by-play voice of the Cincinnati Reds at the time, screaming, "Do you believe in miracles?" Yes, which launched his Hall of Fame career, and rightfully so, because he was excellent doing that game. And we continue with more on the other side, hour 2 after this. The great Mark Griffin joins.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fanrun Radio.
It's the hottest post-game show on the planet. Garza Law. Fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
When it's time for a fresh coat of paint, run, don't walk to Walker's Painting. Interior and exterior, Walker's Painting's been making it beautiful since 1999 across the Knoxville area. New construction, repaints, commercial, residential, free estimates available. And get this, mention you heard Walker's Painting on the Basilio Show, 10% off your first job. Let's go! Run, don't walk to Walker's Painting. 865-688-1410. That's 865-688-1410. Walker's Painting, making it beautiful since 1999. Check out the ad at the blog at tclub.team. Walker's Painting.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Okay, so we really need uniforms and equipment for this season. Can I trust you with that? Cool, I'll just order them online. What? Yeah, I'm going to hop online and I'm going to get them ordered. Hold up, that's not a good idea. We shouldn't just spend money on some random online retailer, okay? I mean, it seems pretty convenient. Trust me, it's a terrible idea. Let me simplify this for you. SM Athletics. Okay, how do you pronounce it? SM Athletics? They're the go-to for uniforms and equipment, whether it's for universities, high schools, youth leagues, you name it. So why wouldn't you rather go with professionals who can guide us through the process, design the perfect uniforms, and deliver the best equipment? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. What's the name again? SM Athletics. Right. It's definitely smarter to go with a company that emphasizes customer service, fair pricing, and, of course, excellent products. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's settled then. For uniforms and equipment for all sports, it's SM Athletics.
When a dangerous, overgrown, or storm-damaged tree is threatening your home, your car, or your family, don't risk it. Call ECR Total Landscapes, your local tree-cutting experts. From precision tree removal and trimming to emergency storm cleanup, ECR Total Landscapes has the equipment and the experience to get the job done safely and efficiently. Call today to set up your free estimate, 865-384-2012, or just go online to ecrtotallandscapes.com.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, their Mama's Easy approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and ZZ.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols.
Newsflash, Basilio listeners, the spring real estate market just moved up. Yes, it's chilly outside and you're still in your puffy coat, but if you need to sell your East Tennessee property, you could be the hottest house on the block. Hi there. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. February is the sweetheart month of real estate, and savvy sellers know exactly what that means. Get ahead of the game and give me a call at 865-694-5904 or reach out at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols!
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues. Every bet type you can imagine. Live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
VIP Play coming soon. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Achillio here, and my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's national award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com, Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Tony Basilio Show proudly brings to you Marky Mark and the Lunchy Bunch, a.k.a. Mark Griffin's award-winning segment on here, the former Vol great, who holds it down on our blog and has for a good decade or so, over at tclub.team with his patented three-pointers. And today, Griff, we highlight an Ole Miss team that's an 11.5-point doggy dog against the Vols in an early 7 o'clock start. And Tennessee last time out was extremely impressive, Griff. One of my favorite games of the year. We celebrated the win during our Garza Law Tennessee basketball overtime. It was really, really a fun game. And by the way, we're going to mix in some phone calls here during this segment. So 865-200-5402. I want to know from you your 3 favorite basketball games of the Rick Barnes era. And I'm going to give a box of chocolate-covered strawberries to our friends at Bradley's Chocolate to the winner, or Bradley's Gift and Home, as they're called. Old habits die hard, Brad and Joy, please forgive. But they've got a new location in Farragut now, along with their long-standing traditional location there off Peters Road that you've come to be associated with. They're wonderful folks, and they have a great business, and I'm just really proud of them. Brad, I was showering today thinking of you. I want you to know that. But they've got so many great gifts there. Griff, let's talk here. Saturday night's game was one that I loved because it was a full roster win. The Vols needed everybody to win that game.
Oh, you're right, Tony. It's amazing how this team has done such a great job. The big focus has been the rebounding, but people stepping up. I mean, you look at Brown, how he's matured over the season, and you've talked so much about him, and you had insight about how the staff didn't know if he'd be ready at all this year. It was going to be more of a learning experience. Would he get any minutes? And to me, he's been one of the most improved players and steady. I don't see a decline at all when he is in the game. And I think he gives them a much needed lift because of his energy that he brings to the floor, Tony.
Yeah, it's kind of remarkable. They've got some guys that have some juice to them, and they had to have it the other night. You know, one of the guys I want to point out who was my MVP of the deal was Bishop Oswell, because Gillespie gets his 4th foul flying at a three-pointer. And look, this team defends a perimeter better than anybody in the country, pretty much, and they have down through the years. But what comes with that is these fouls they're going to commit 23 feet from the basket, and they're going to continually fall on three-point shooters. And Griff, it's almost like you can't have it both ways. But boy, Boswell really held the ship steady, because Auburn was really impressive the other night. Stephen F. and Pearl did a really nice job the other night, Griff, I thought.
Yeah, it was a great game. And even with the Sideshow Pearl deal, it's a fantastic game for basketball fans across the country, Auburn or Tennessee, just followers as a whole. And you mentioned about the three-pointers getting fouled. I've never witnessed a game of Tennessee. I think they had 3 of them, if I'm not mistaken, where they fouled 3 shooters who had shot a three-pointer. And that's the worst play in basketball. Fouling the three-point shooter is the worst play in basketball that you could commit. And for it to happen 3 times really opened the door for Auburn, but Tennessee was able to close out. And just to add a little bit more on the inside, you mentioned Okpara not playing. And normally when you have a big guy or any player missing, especially with, looking at UT's inside game, you're like, okay, he can rest. We've got depth. And that's got to be a comforting feeling to know that even with his inside presence and shot blocking ability, limited score, but he does alter a lot of shots, gets good rebounds, that you got other guys that have stepped it up. And Estrella's really, been on an upward trajectory as far as his style of play, which I was glad to see because you know me, Tony, I've been a little critical of his effort, especially 50-50 balls, which, are balls on the floor. And you never see them on the floor, still haven't. But, he's really stepped it up as well. And just guys seem to be really confident. I do think some of this confidence comes because you see this leadership ability of Ament and how well he's playing now. And when you got a guy that really is consistent or hot, I think it really does up your style of play. Just like I think if you've got a guy that's playing really badly or slumping, I think that can have a spillover on you as well, because it's added pressure for other guys to step it up because your main guns aren't performing.
Hey, Griffin, I used to torment and torture myself with that game that has a little white ball. You and I used to talk when we played golf together about how when you played golf with somebody that was a great player, you elevated your game. I know from playing music now, when you play music with somebody that's much better than you, you up your game. You don't even know you're doing it. You just up your game. And Matt the other night was talking about your evoking body language and teaching us to look for and watch for it. And there is very little doubt that Ament's body language over this 6-game stretch where he's averaging well over 20 points per game, he physically is manifesting a different spirit out there on the court with his body language. Can you speak to what you've seen from him as he's begun to really grow into this season? And I give Barnes a lot of credit because he was deeply, not only was he financially invested in him, he was invested in him credibility-wise to his staff. He was invested in him credibility-wise with the media because he kept saying, this guy has it in him, and before it's over, you're going to see what I saw in him in the summer. But all of a sudden, he's showing emotion. Talk to me about what you're seeing from him.
Well, he has shown emotion, and he's just been consistent. And what you don't want to see is a guy that, let's say, is very inconsistent. Maybe they get down as far as, blaming others for not assisting on defense, or they're pointing at others in a negative fashion, or on the bench, which is harder to see, but I do watch the bench as much as I can, Tony, especially at live games, to see, are they leaning forward? Are they leaning back? Are they even, focusing? Are they looking up in the stands? Are they just listening to one of the coaches trying to distract them? Or are they really focused in on Barnes or whichever assistant coach is, running the next play or discussing that particular timeout? It just goes back to focus. And you mentioned it, but he just seems really focused. He's done a really good job, and you really do have to give Barnes credit because he is running more plays for him, and that's not typically a normal Barnes system where he will capitalize on one player. I mean, yes, you can go back to connect and say that he did a lot then, which yes, that is true. But normally it's a system of movement, running sets, getting the best shot available. But I think Ament's really built up his confidence knowing he's got mismatches because he can shoot over that 6'5", 6'6" guy that's guarding him, and he's shooting on the way up. And you and I have talked about this in previous shows. His upward trajectory is very important, releasing the ball then versus a downward slope, which he was doing in the past, really trying to draw the foul instead of trying to make the shot and get fouled. And there's a big difference, Tony. When you go up to shoot the ball to make the basket and you just so happen to get fouled, it's a bonus. But you'll see guys, it happens all the time, they jump into guys mainly to get fouled and hope the ball goes in. Well, you can see from what he's displayed that he's trying to make the shot, and if he gets fouled, he's just going to the line, and his free throw shooting percentage has gone up significantly over the last few games as well. So he's definitely a go-to guy, and for other players, it takes pressure off so that they can play, within their scope of the game. And you mentioned Boswell. I mean, I've watched him last year and his growth. And it, to me, it's kind of a head scratcher. Obviously, these coaches do a great job. We talk about Indiana football and evaluation. I mean, he fits a role that's needed for this Tennessee program that I didn't know that he would fit this year, Tony.
Exactly.
I thought it was going to be way too early, sending a sign to other players like, look, if you don't practice hard, I'm going to put Boswell in.
Yep.
But what we haven't seen behind the scenes is what he's done in practice.
Well,
how he's really complimented everyone, and especially, I'm just shocked that he's averaging almost 5 rebounds a game. I mean, just his knowing where to go on offensive rebounds, the angles, blocking out, shooting a tremendous 3-point percentage, over 60%. Now that's a limited number, but yet, if you were to ask me if Boswell would shoot 60% any time in his career in practice, I would say never. And for him to be that far along this part of the season is such an asset for this team.
Body language is such an interesting thing. The engagement. Hey, Matt, do you believe, and I want John's thoughts on this as well, because Ament obviously knows he's a star player and the pressure of all that. You got to get acclimated. And at one point he's the hunter, and now all of a sudden he's hunting. Like you can just see him out there. Or he's the hunted in these early season games, and now you can see him. He wants the ball, and he's hunting. That 3-point or foul shot percentage, free throw percentage is increasing as he's getting more engaged, Matt, in basketball games. That can't be cause and effect. That has to be related, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He's playing with confidence. He's seeing balls go in on the jump shots. And then just that aggressiveness of getting to the foul line and then knocking those down. It seems like he's just playing a lot more in rhythm now. And he's not kind of forcing things when he has to. He's just kind of letting the game come to him because, like Griff said, with the mismatch that he is almost every night, he's going to get plenty of shots and opportunities to score regardless of how they come. So, yeah, it does seem like he's kind of settled into what he is now and is playing to his strengths as opposed to, just kind of doing way too much or trying to do way too much early in the season. And that confidence that he has is, you can definitely see it. I guess it really kind of started during those overtimes versus A&M when they just kind of went to him and he just kind of took over those games, and he's just kind of continued to build on that, which has been great to see.
And the curious thing was Rick Barnes admitting, but between that game and the Alabama game, hey, we as a staff, we let us all down in this room because we didn't go to him for some reason against Kentucky. And I'll be damned if they didn't ride him at Alabama, and they're going to ride him now. John, you can see it. It's a different thing now with him, and it really gives them a much higher chance, I think, as he continues to grow. It's going to be really fun to watch this guy over the next month, John.
Yeah, and I think it'll be fun to watch him in the NCAA tournament. When I watch NCAA tournaments, I always think of everybody ratcheting up their defense, playing because there's more at stake. And I think more teams play harder defense than they did during the regular season. Even teams that aren't noted for their defense turn it up a notch when you're in the tournament because there's so much at stake. But I just think when you get in that situation, then you got to find players who can score against really aggressive defense. And Nate Ament can do that. You could just see it. He's a completely different player than he was in that SEC opener against Arkansas. I was really surprised at how passive he was in that game. Since Tennessee had played a difficult non-conference schedule, it played Houston, so I thought he would be ready to go when the season started in the SEC, and he wasn't. But since then, now it looks like he gets the ball, or even if he does get the ball, before he gets the ball, he plays with the confidence that I can get my shot off against anybody, that they can't really prevent that, and I know I can shoot well. So anywhere on the court, he's a threat, and he forces defenses to really focus on him. And you combine that with what Gillespie could do and create shots. You have two players who can create shots, and I really think that matters against tough defenses in an NCAA tournament.
Hey, Griff, I saw something out of him the other night that I didn't think I'd see as Mark Griffin joins us for their Tuesday soiree here in our second hour. And that's when he had the two-man game. He tips the ball on a block and gets out on the run with Boswell, flips it in the corner to Boswell, flips it back to him for an alley-oop attempt or some kind of modified slam, but it was going to be nasty, and he missed it. But he turned to the crowd, and he screamed at the top of his lungs as if to say, hey, like, I'm in the moment here. When he did that, Griff, we have not seen that kind of emotion out of that kid on the floor. It's almost like, hey, like the Lion King or something. Like, hey, I realize this is my destiny here. I'm not trying to get too dramatic here, but that I thought was a pretty signature moment from Saturday night for me.
Yeah, it carries over, and not that you have to be emotional to be effective or turn your team around. You watch, I hate to say NBA, but when you watch top-notch players, not all of them show emotion. They just show focus, determination, grit, and execution. So he's got to get the job done, and he's getting the job done. But to even add what John said, one of the things about Ament that's going to be tough for teams moving forward, he's at least 6'10". I think he's 6'11". I stood up next to him, and God, he looks so much taller than me, and I was standing straight up, which is difficult. But he is such a matchup concern because he's a 4-man. So if you have a big man guard him, he's going to blow right by on the perimeter because the big man cannot guard him on the perimeter. You put a 6'5", 6'6", let's say even 6'7" young man on him that's a 3-man or even a 2 guard. What does he do? Post him up, and that's what he's done. So he's such a mismatch. So what do you do as an opponent? Put a big guy on, rough him. You put a shorter guy on him, and then he's able to shoot over him on the block or drive by them. And that sweet little, and I hate to call it Kevin Durant-esque type jump shot, but that's what he does. It's a fantastic jump shot. Even when he misses, the shot looks good. And we haven't said that all season. I've seen him shoot some bricks where he barely drew iron, and you were just praying that something would come close and that things would come together. Now, will he have an off game the rest of the season? Will he have one tonight? He could. But what you're seeing is guys that are really starting to come together. They're filling their roles. Barnes is able to really be a magician over there on the sidelines to fill gaps. At a timely process. It's something that we don't really even talk about a lot, though, is more of the situational basketball. Like when there's 9 minutes left in the half, that TV timeout's coming, the under 8. It's like, hey, he did this with Amen, actually took him out and then put someone in, maybe Abram. But it's like, well, I'm going to give him a break. I'm not going to get a foul. We'll put someone else in for this defensive stance. Or defensive, defensive part of the game, and able to really utilize his team in a great fashion to rest guys and to give guys a chance to get in there and do something.
Lots to discuss here on a day where we celebrate what was a great game with Stephen F. and Pearl and Auburn the other night. We're really considering retiring the Stephen F. and Pearl moniker after what we saw from them the other night. Hey, Griff, he's done a really nice job with that team. That Auburn team played really hard and really well. Now, I didn't understand their goofy zone defense where they kept giving us a 13-footer at the nail there. But, hey, more power to him, more power to them, more power to us. But I thought for the most part they played a pretty representative, very high-level SEC game the other night. Auburn did.
Yeah, they're really good, and I think you got to give Tennessee credit too at the first 30 minutes of the game, really containing Hall.
Yep,
you just knew Hall, number 7, Keyshawn Hall, was going to get his.
Yes,
and he's a volume shooter. But he ended up, I think, getting 21, but he was pretty much contained. I know the first half. I don't know his stats first half, but it wasn't significant. And then when at the end, I was like, uh-oh, we got to guard Hall. We got to guard Hall. Got to guard Hall. And it just seemed like he was open on several shots, especially cross-court passes that he was able to shoot that goofy-looking three-point shot where he's just like spinning the ball versus shooting it. His form's really bad, but he knocks them down, and it was a concern to the very end that Auburn could come back because they kept fighting. So once again, close game. We talked about this in the past. What's the concern for Tennessee basketball? Close game. Big guys go into the free throw line. Well, we didn't see that as much to where they were, hack-a-shacking our big guys, sending them to the line, which I was a little surprised that didn't occur, because if it did, that would play into Auburn's favor. But it was just such a big win, something to, continue that momentum of, 3 straight wins, and Ole Miss tonight, which is I know we'll talk about, Tony, but man, program sales have to be fantastic in Oxford this year. I only recognize one guy. There's only one guy from last year's team that's even on the team that of any significance, and that's Murfreesboro's Malik Dia. That's it. Everybody else is from all over the world. They got 3 guys from other countries.
We were just laughing with Neil McCready about that. He's like, yeah, you don't know the guys. It happens so quickly. And he was like, the thing that happens too when you start losing like they've been, your fan base will unplug pretty quickly on these teams when you don't know them, which is true in this era that we're in right now. As Mark Griffin's here, part of the Lunchy Bunch, I got the great John Adams in the house as well. TGMD's here. Brian Hartman's here. All right, let's go around the room, guys. That 4th foul the other day on Gillespie. Brian Hartman, you first. Was that the offensive player kicking his leg out? Or was that really a foul on Gillespie and you can't get that close to a 3-point shooter? Where are you on that, Bri?
Well, when you consider that he'd already fouled a 3-point shooter before, he probably lost the benefit of the doubt on that one. And Tennessee has they're kind of known for doing that, fouling 3-point shooters. So I can't argue with what they called.
John Adams. They call a 4th foul on a star player there in that spot.
Oh, yeah. It was almost like Gillespie was lobbying for another foul. They just sent him back in the game, and he races out there and, takes a dive at or lunge at a 3-point shooter. It was ridiculous.
So you had no problem with the call?
No. you shouldn't even be. He should have even been close to him anyway.
Right.
Matt Nelson, your thoughts?
Well, like Brian said, you fouled a guy on a made 3 at the end of the first half. And you already had 3 fouls, so that's all on Gillespie. But yeah, he kicks his leg out, but that's part of that has to be part of the scouting report as well, because that's what Auburn's kind of known for. So yeah, that one was. To foul a guy making 3s twice is really impressive.
Gillespie does kind of check his brain at the door.
Unreal.
He does check. He's a high-level player, Griff, that does check his brain at the door from time to time. In your mind, was that foul grifting from Auburn? Or should he have never been over there?
Well, he should have had a hand up, but like you guys said previously, you just got to be smart. You wall up, put your hand up. You have the vertical stance where you're not leaning into a guy. If he hits it, he hits it. But you don't foul a 3-point shooter, period. The worst play in basketball. And I was so loud every time it happened the other night. I was there yelling, don't foul a 3-point shooter. It's the worst play in basketball. And Barnes went nuts every time because coaches know it. But Gillespie does check out a little bit at the end of the game. It's a little concern. We've had this conversation, I think, the last 3 weeks, where critical turnovers, bonehead plays. But you know what? That you're going to get that. To his defense, I'll take a turnover every now and then for what he does positively, especially what all he brings to the table. You just got to absorb it and go, hey, okay, bad play, next play. Let's move on.
Go ahead, John.
Mark, did you ever have a 4-point play? Did you ever make a 3-pointer and get fouled?
Oh, no question.
Yeah. I was just looking up your stats.
Oh, God.
I don't know why
you leg out, Griff.
We didn't have that wasn't well known back then to kick the leg out. But I've laid a leg out to trip people before, sure. Whatever you got to do, brother.
They go to the monitor. That's a flagrant now, Griff.
Yeah. But, a lot of things you do when you're taught, which we don't discuss on the air, but, you're taught how to defend guys without just putting hands. Referees do a great job looking. It's easy call on defense to look for hands. What's more difficult, because it's such a difficult, I'm using difficult a lot. It's so difficult to referee a game now because athletes are just so incredibly advanced when they were years ago.
Yeah.
But you can do a lot on defense without hands. And I mean by you've got your hips that you can help, you can move people around with your hips, and your knees can do a lot of work too.
Hey, Griff.
So you can knee guys in soft spots,
Robert,
and they move. And those aren't called. They're just not called.
Hey, Griff, Robert Cooper says the following, and I'm going to read this to you because this is part of our discussion here, okay? It's one of the reasons why I want to get into it, and I'm glad he brought this up. Just because the point guard does a dumb thing doesn't mean it's okay for the offensive player to kick their leg out there. It has to be, you got to get it out of basketball if you want integrity in the sport. It looks like soccer. Is he right,
Well, they have
Griff?
that rule.
Is he right?
Well, they have that rule in place for that, but I just don't think it should have been called the other night, and it wasn't. So if you kick out a leg, obviously it's a judgment call.
Right.
But I don't think at that time it was enough to where they would go to the monitor if they do go. They go to the monitor for everything else to look at that. So that's just it's just a bad play on Gillespie's part. Like I said before, you're going to make some bonehead plays. You just try to make as few as possible. And your job, and you talked about hitting a white ball, is to focus on, like you say in golf, next ball. Same thing in basketball. It's a common phrase. Next play means forget about what just happened. Let's move on. You can't harp on what you did.
Robert Cooper said then they should have called it the other night, Griff. That's what he's at. He's like, with 2 exclamation points, Griff. Why won't you guys admit it? They should have called it.
Well, I pulled up on a video. Let's look at it, but they didn't. So, I mean, that's once again, let's move on.
To our phones we go, 865-200-5402. John, you pulled Mark's numbers up. Do Mark's numbers hold up over time, John, or are they not aging well? Where are you, John, on that?
No, they're impressive. He shot 40%
question.
from three-point range for his career. My question is, why didn't he shoot more?
Don DeVoe is why.
Go! Let's go!
You know what's funny, Jimmy? I mean, John. Why call you Jimmy?
Bino must go and take DeVoe.
You know what, John? It's funny because if you recall, and you remember these because we're not in our 20s, but
interesting.
When the 3-point shot came along, most programs did not adopt that program as well as others. When I think of the SEC, the only team that really utilized the 3-point shot in the first couple of years was Vanderbilt. And we hardly used it. We hardly used it. I mean, that Barry Goheen, Barry Booker, remember those guys, Willie Donick.
Barry Goheen.
That was one of the problems that DeVoe had, I think, was making that transition to the 3-point line.
No question.
Hey, watch how you use transition today. Barry Goheen, listen. Barry Goheen, and I didn't know this, okay, because I am one, does have a distinction in the modern era of SEC basketball. He on the All You Ugly team. Mark, that's one of the ugliest white guys I've ever seen in my life. How do you plead to that? You're a good-looking man, Mark. Barry Goheen was damn ugly. Yes or no?
Well, you know what? He was pretty on the court, though, and that's all I cared about. I didn't care how he looked off the court, but what a hell of a player and big. You're talking about some big shots, which the younger generation may not know. You can Google it, but
they went to the Sweet 16 one year. He hit a 3-ball that was unbelievable.
We came out the same year. He's from Marshall County, Kentucky.
Let's go.
So, I actually went on a recruiting visit at Vanderbilt, and it was with Barry Goheen and Barry Booker and Gerald Harris and a couple other guys. But great guy. Great guy. But John, back to your comment, and I never do brag at all, but when you look at the statistics, only Allen Houston and Chris Lofton have a higher 3-point percentage in the history of UT than I do. I'm third, and I will discuss that because it's the only record that I've had at UT, and I have the senior career best average of 3-point shooting. But once again, numbers are lower than they are now. Didn't shoot as many, obviously, as Chris Lofton ever did, but it was a high percent. But that's what I did. That was my role, was to shoot 3-pointers. So,
yeah, but it was a diminished role in that system. And in today's game, if those same rules would have been placed back then in terms of the transfer portal, you would have transferred somewhere where you could shoot threes.
Well, you know what? I understand what you're saying, but my loyalty to UT was bigger than that. I would have stuck it out regardless. Even with the lure of NIL money, I was Tennessee true and true. One thing I heard the other day, and I have to mention this, our friend Chris Lowe mentioned this at a program I was at yesterday.
Great CeeLo.
I don't know what day it is exactly, but it's this month, 50-year anniversary of Ernie and Bernie being on Sports Illustrated cover. I had that cover. I cut pictures out of it and put it on my wall. So that was 50 years ago. So I was 9 years old and would listen to John Ward in my room, pom-poms out, everything. So for me, John, even not being able to utilize that 3-pointer, I would have stayed.
Tell the living listener.
What if Texas Tech would offer you $1 million?
Tell the living listener about John not leaving a tender moment alone.
First of all, it wouldn't happen.
John,
if they did, I would just get whatever I could from UT and I would stay, because
John not leaving a tender.
That $1 million that people look at now as a deciding factor. Focus that into 30 years of your career in whatever area you go to. And I had a high school coach that was very instrumental in my growth and development. And he just said, look, what are the chances you're going to leave Tennessee, the state of Tennessee? I said, none. He just said, well, there's more Tennessee fans and alumni here versus going to Vandy or even Memphis State. He said, you can carve out a really good career here if you can stay out of trouble.
The man cared about you.
You make that up. You make that up.
Hey, Griff, tell the story about when you first got your uniform and you went back to your dorm room. You told me. I want you to pop the living listener today, because this is true stuff.
John,
now. This is real life.
John
living,
may not know this either, but well, I get a little emotional, and it's been a lifelong dream. And you have other guys that's played at UT that feel this way, but since Tony brought it up, I went back to dorm and I cried. I bawled. I'm like, I cannot believe I get to hold this jersey and wear this jersey. Now we're renting jerseys. Think about it. You talking about transfer portal, John. People are renting jerseys now for a year, and I talked about that about Ole Miss. One guy from last year, that's it. But it was just so. I was just so honored to play at UT. I sat with Tony White yesterday at this program I went to, and I was talking to him. I said, dude, I watched you play in the NIT against Indiana. I was in high school, and I just kept looking at the screen going, I'm going to play with this guy. He's going to be my teammate. And he was like the wizard. And I was just, I just couldn't fathom a guy from a town of 15,000 in Union City, come to Knoxville and play in the SEC with like Tony White, someone that I looked up to. And you can't tell the guy when you're his teammate, look, dude, I look up to you. You just can't say that. But I did. One
of the all-time great stories right there. Matt, you were going to say, because this is incredible today.
No, I was actually gonna bring up this stuff about Griff still being in the record books for a few 3-point categories, including the best percentage by a senior. Like I was actually going to bring that up, so he didn't have to brag about that. But I
didn't mean to. If you know me, I don't brag at all. I'm very low-key. That one I'm proud of. And the older you get, sometimes you just got to bring it up.
Well, you're gonna be like Griff, a kid that gets close to that. You're going to be like Calvin Murphy over there, twirling his baton and trying to distract somebody when they get close to your record. You're going to be over there kind of screaming, yelling at them. Like Calvin Murphy did that one time.
You mean Cal from Niagara, Calvin Murphy?
That's him. Somebody was getting ready to break his foul shooting record in the NBA, and there was a clip of him.
NBA.
You can look it up.
So the Rockets.
And he was sitting behind the thing doing this deal to him, trying to distract him at the end of the season. He was trying. He wanted his record that bad. It's like the 72 Dolphins. Hey, listen, the 72 Dolphins, y'all are pathetic. Pathetic. Get over it. Relax. All right. Enough out of me. Boy, I really am off-putting. I'm really obnoxious. You know that? All calls will be heard on the other side after this. Are you currently a residential electrician? Would you like more benefits, better pay, more upside? What about a $3,000 signing bonus? Free company-paid health insurance, annual profit share, company vehicle, gas card, much more. Call Advent Electric today. Advent, known for their large commercial jobs around town, and due to high demand, they're adding additional roles for their residential department. Maybe you know a friend, family member that's a residential electrician. Spread the word. Email hr@adventelectric.com. hr@adventelectric.com. 865-588-0631 and ask for the Tony B 3K signing bonus. Advent Electric is hiring. You got to dream about buying some land and building on that land. Well, Waterside Contracting is your ticket. 25 years of making dreams come true, Michael Scott. For hundreds in our area, custom homes or remodels, Waterside Contracting will build on your lot. They do incredible work all over the area. Structural integrity, quality without compromise. It's a way of life with Waterside Contract. Check out the wonderful work Waterside does. WatersideContractingLLC.com. When it's time for your dreams to come true. Quality without compromising. Waterside Contracting.
College football fans, Chris Fowler here with the play call. This season, go for Dose with ice-cold, refreshing Dos Equis. It's more than a single play. It's a mindset. Think of it as a 2-point conversion for real life. Taking the risk, making the bold move. Whenever we get the chance to go big, we take it. On the field and off, always go for Dose with Dos Equis.
Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis Lager Especial Beer. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care. I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net.
Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Basilio here with my buddy, Connexial Kristen.
Hey, Tony. Good to see ya. Connexial builds fleet technology that helps transportation and logistics companies win big. live GPS, easy ELD and compliance tools, AI dash cameras, and asset tracking, all backed by the #1 U.S. customer support team. Want a better playbook for your operations? Visit ConnectSeal.com/Tony. That's KONEXIAL.com/Tony. ConnectSeal, built for drivers, trusted by fleets, and proud Vol fans.
Tony Basilio here, and I got the great Chad Stockton of FC Alliance 2026. Chad, do you believe we've made it?
Boys and girls teams start off the new year at big national event showcases. We got our younger kids training indoors and doing a lot of things to get better. So we're excited about what the future holds.
Chad, I hear the juice behind you. I hear the kids. Your program reaches throughout East Tennessee. If folks want to get involved, what's the advice?
We're easy to get in touch with. We offer players at all ages, all levels, all experience. We have a program for all of our kids that we have, and we're excited for anyone to join us.
And even some Lady Vols as well. Several college players all over the country, yes?
Absolutely. We had a lot of girls that we were able to watch play in the NCAA tournament. A lot of our former players made big runs through the tournament. We're so excited for them.
Growing the beautiful game in the year of the World Cup in North America. Celebrate the beautiful game. Get your child involved. FCAllianceKnox.org. That's FCAllianceKnox.org. And Chad, thank you, man. Keep growing the beautiful game.
Absolutely, Tony, and thank you very much.
Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good.
From the sunrise over the Smokies to the Saturday cheers at Neyland Stadium, Knoxville isn't just where we live, it's home. But let's be honest. Finding your perfect spot in a hot market can feel like a full-time job. Whether you're looking for a Craftsman in 4th and Gill, a family home in Farragut, or a view in South Knox, the market moves fast. You need more than a listing. You need an edge. And that's where I come in, Jennifer Morris with Keller Williams Realty. And I specialize in helping Knoxville buyers win. I don't just find houses, I find the right fit for your budget and your lifestyle. Ready to unlock your front door? Visit nextmovesmokymountains.com or call me at 865-694-5904. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com. And as always, go Vols.
Bradley's and your Tony Basilio Show are a Knoxville tradition. And these days, just like Tony B's show has taken off like a rocket ship, so have my friends at Bradley's. Sure, they still have all the delicious chocolate you're used to, like the chocolate-covered popcorn and the assortment boxes. They're now called Bradley's Gift and Home, and they have so much more than chocolate. Bradley's Gift and Home has all kinds of amazing curated gifts, jewelry, candles, and other for her gift items that will keep you from having to go anywhere else. Guys, trust me, as Basilio would say, Bradley's Gift and Home have taken it to the next level. And remember, Bradley's will have freshly dipped chocolate-covered strawberries in milk and white chocolate at both of their locations, 141 North Peters Road and 138 Biddle Farms Boulevard in Farragut next to Tupelo Honey. Strawberries available February 13th and 14th. See you at Bradley's Bradley's Gift and Home. See our website, shopbradleys.com.
TB back with you, 865-200-5402. We welcome you back, taking you up to William Patterson in your playbook on Fanrun Radio. In the meantime, we've got Mark Griffin joining. He's in the hunt and in the mix and in the mix and in the hunt. We have a full bank of calls. Ole Miss is in town tonight. Chris Beard's going to muck up the game because that's what he does. They were in the Sweet 16 last year in hoops and in the Final Four in men's college football. Not women's college football, but men's college football. And in men's college basketball, they were in the Sweet 16. I would say pretty good year there for little Ole Miss. If that was here and you had that kind of production, people would be giving like a tooth or like an organ for their tickets next year. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
What's up, Tony? Bobby.
Hey, Bobby,
Thank
welcome
you guys
in.
for all being there. I'm going to try to be brief, but I do have a football question as well.
No, we're not doing that. No, we're not doing football.
Well, then I have one for Mark. Mark, who needs to step up to be our second and third ball handler and or our third scorer?
Thank you. Griff?
You know what? That's a great question. I don't know who the answer is. That's the problem. Because you have guys with strengths and then we'll just call them areas of improvement, another fancy word for weaknesses.
Yep.
I would love it to be Amari Evans, but he doesn't handle the ball as well on the point, but he's so tough defensively, gets out great in the fast break, but can he run point? No. You got Troy Henderson, can run the point, but is he durable enough? Does he have an advantage shooting over guys? He's not really tall. Has he shown that he can be consistent shooting the ball? No, he's shooting 30-something% from the field in a limited basis. I mean, do you play a guy consistently that's shooting such a low percent? Well, then we could go down the line. I mean, we could look at my boy Ethan Iceberg. Little cold. That's why I call him Iceberg. I mean, looks great in practice. I see why they brought him in from Israel. But when he gets on the court, he freezes. So you don't have that either. So what I think you're going to have, unfortunately, is you're going to have Abram step it up game-to-game basis. You're going to have Evans step it up game-to-game basis. It's going to be pretty much, unfortunately, this is why I'm concerned about this team in the postseason. It's going to be by trial. And if it's by trial and it's not successful, they're going to lose.
Balahia, great, Griff. And here's the thing. I need your 3 favorite Tennessee basketball games.
Under Barnes.
Under Rick Barnes, because Bradley's chocolate's on the line. Griff, nominate me a game. Give me your what jumps out to you when I say that to you. Nominate me a game here, Griff.
Well, the one I enjoyed the most that I can think of top of my head is the Auburn game when Connect went off.
Let's go. Never be forgotten by the
39-41, I don't know, but he took over the game, and it was a tremendous crowd and loud. And that's probably my number one, just because of the excitedness. Now, how the biggest one, I mean, we'll have to debate those, but
no, just favorite games.
Me, it was Auburn.
Because I want to. This is all born out of wanting to enjoy the regular season, enjoy these games. Matt, what's yours? Your favorite game that when you think back to the Barnes era, 10 years now?
Yeah, it's hard to not pick the Sweet 16 win versus Kentucky last year because you got to the Elite Eight for just the third time in program history, and it was over Kentucky, and you dominated the game. It's probably that one just for how much it meant. But the 2019 SEC tournament went over Kentucky where you kind of came back late. And you thought you were kind of playing for a 1 seed was an incredible game as well during that 2019 season.
John Adams, what's your favorite game during the Barnes era before we go back to the phones? Like time capsule.
I really like the win over Duke in the NCAA tournament.
Oh, where Tennessee just muscled them, smothered them, and covered them, and threw onions on them.
That was a talented Duke team, but a very young Duke team, and they couldn't handle Tennessee's physical play at all. It was a great example of Barnes ball. Of it matched up so well against what Duke had.
Brian Hartman, what's yours?
I'll go with, since my top one was taken by Matt, I think I'm going to go with the win in Rupp the last time. I think it was 24 with Connect that February night when the Vols, I think they hit 103 on them.
Yeah.
And they beat them. They actually led by double digits for much of that game and just ran them right out of Rupp Arena.
My game
and drug them across the street and made them like it.
My game was the one that harkened that, hey, we really have something here. the Gonzaga game up there on the road. I believe it was a Saturday afternoon. We had a watch party. I'll never, ever, 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 ever forget that. It was incredible.
Yeah, Admiral Schofield. I think that
Admiral
game was in
Schofield.
Phoenix. Admiral Schofield went off in the second half. That's probably the most fun game.
Let's go back to our phones and get our next call in. I celebrate. We're going to be on the night following the Ole Miss game, and I'm going to have my chin up, and we're not going to bitch and moan after a win tonight like we did after the Georgia game, which was a total embarrassment. Hello and welcome in. We're giving the winner, Bradley's Chocolate, who we deem that does the best job with this. Your 3 favorite wins in the Barnes era. Your 3 personal favorite. Your personal 3 favorites. Hello, welcome in. You're on the air.
Tony, what's up, brother?
What's up, brother?
Howdy.
Good to be on Spitting with Griffin. But I do like the name y'all are going with. That's pretty next level, brother. Mark, what do you think about Evans at the 2 to start the game, and you bring Boswell as a backup 1 to Gillespie? Because the reason he's faltering down this stretch is because he's tired.
Who'd you say the start? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Having Boswell come off the bench as to relieve Gillespie and start Evans at the 2.
Start Evans at the 2. I think it sounds great. You're right. I mean, Gillespie's been way more effective for what I've seen, guys, at the 2. It's just really good to have that flexibility. And it's also, I look at matchups. When you're playing point, you may have a different guy guarding you defensively than when you're playing a 2 guard. So you have to take that in consideration. And then when you have someone like Evans in the game that's so strong and big, you put a point guard on him, oh gosh, I'm posting your butt up every possession or getting looks around the basket that's going to maximize that advantage. So it's all about the matchups. And I agree with you as far as Gillespie. I do think that some of these bad timing as far as the turnovers or costly turnovers, because you have turnovers anytime, and there's different types of turnovers, but kind of what we'll call bonehead turnovers seem to happen at the end of the game. I do agree with you, caller, that could be some fatigue, and he's averaging over 33 minutes a game. Playing 33 minutes a game. Nobody else on Tennessee's over 30. And in fact, he's 3rd in the SEC. Gillespie is in minutes played. You don't think Barnes would like to rest